Hello, one and all, and welcome to another episode of your favourite podcast, the A2theK Wrestling Show. As always, I am Karl, and joining me, as always, is this guy right here. I don't know which way it works when it goes on the video. It's Anthony. How you doing, man?
I'm not too bad, Karl. Thanks for that wonderful introduction.
Kind.
We're here for another week. I stopped counting the weeks ages ago, but we've done a shit ton of episodes now. So as you've all come to know and love, this week we're going to talk about all the latest news and rumours in the world of wrestling this week in the Ringside Report. We're going to be covering the four big shows, being Raw, NXT, AEW's Dynamite, and SmackDown in This Week in Wrestling. And Karl, we've got a unique segment coming up this week. Do you want to regale people with the tale of our unique segment?
So basically, as you may be already aware from the stuff we posted on social, etc., etc., we are kicking off a kind of like a mini-series almost on these unique segments called Behind the Mask, where we are going to be talking and interviewing some of mask-making royalty around some of the most amazing masks that have been made, and kind of figuring out what goes into masks and how it can help elevate superstars. And this week we thought we would set the scene about what exactly this whole series is going to be about and why we wanted to do it, really. So it's going to be Behind the Mask, the kind of introduction, if you will.
Yeah, couldn't have put it better myself. So as we all know, there are some really good, really iconic characters who wear masks, and there are some really not good and barely memorable characters. So it is a very interesting area, and one that we are keen on looking into, and the series as a whole, I think, is going to be a lot of fun, Karl. I mean, it's certainly straight away echoes like a handful of favourite characters we've had over the years, being Kane or Mankind or whichever. They're all like fondly remembered from
Absolutely.
the Attitude Era, definitely. So yeah, it's going to be a good one. Join us in segment 3. So, Karl, shall we, before we get into all that, shall we kick off with the Ringside Report?
Let's do it.
I think it's only right, isn't it? Awesome. Right, so I'll do the headlines, shall I? This week in the Ringside Report we know for a fact now, I'm changing that, the Big Show has left WWE for All Elite Wrestling. We have Big Cass making his return to the Squared Circle. We have some more details on RVD's future working with WWE. We have Tama Tonga taking shots at FTR and the Good Brothers. We have NWA content being removed from YouTube. We have, very sadly, Jim Crockett Jr. has been hospitalized. We'll give a bit more on that shortly. We have the AEW's Eliminator Tournament matches are going up on YouTube for free. Find out why shortly. We have, is Shinsuke unhappy with his current position in WWE? Question mark. That's going to be our clickbait right there. Heather Miller undergoes surgery.
Heath Miller.
It's one of yours, Karl.
Heath Miller. Is it auto-corrected?
Definitely says Heather here. I was like, you know what? I don't know who Heather Miller is. Karl's
auto-correct.
We're all good.
Obviously, he's got kids.
Miller.
Heath Slater is now, basically...
I don't know, like, is
the surgery he's undergone. Like, we can now refer to him.
I'm sure he'll tell me shortly.
No, yeah, he's had some injury issues. So yeah, he is.
Yeah, so Heath Miller's undergone some surgery. Oh, you got me with that one, Karl. Like, we have Mark Henry returning to in-ring action, and lastly, is Conor McGregor coming to the WWE? Like the last time he suggested that he might be coming to the WWE.
Probably not.
Let's find out. Right
so the first piece of news,
the first one, Karl,
is a shocking one, if you will. AEW shocked the world when they just, very casually, nonchalant, stuck up Paul White is All Elite all over their socials, which just kind of came the fuck out of nowhere.
Yeah. So, straight out of nowhere. I don't even know he was leaving WWE.
So, it baffled all of us. We were all very much surprised and in shock. But evidently, it didn't baffle that many people who were close to Paul White himself. So, they spoke to someone close to him, and they said that effectively it wasn't that much of a surprise because he started selling his house. He let his WWE contract expire and also saw his Netflix show, The Big Show Show. Is that what it's called? The Big Show? Big Show Show? Not the
Big Show
TNT
Show.
thing, the Go
Big
Big
Show.
Show. There's too many shows about Big and Go.
No, but he's going to be on the Go Big Show, so it's going to be the Go Big Show Show.
It's just rolls off the tongue, that one. But yeah, so all these kind of major life events happened, and that resulted in, Big Show is all elite. So interestingly enough, it appears that he's going to be working for them in multiple capacities. So it's been unveiled that the first thing he'll be doing is he will be commentating. I think it's along with. Is it with Tony Schiavone? I'm not really sure. On Dark.
I think so. I believe it. I was going to say, I believe it's on a.
It's
on
no.
It's
so
not even
it's,
the normal episode of Dark, is it? They're
yeah,
doing,
so
something a bit different
I
now.
think we covered it in the news a while ago that AEW kind of copyrighted Elevation. So we thought that was
Sorry.
yeah, Anthony, keep up. So they copyrighted Elevation or trademarked it. So we were like, oh well, that's going to be the new kind of TNT show. In fact, it isn't. So there's a new show that's launching on YouTube on a Monday night, which is going to be AEW Dark Elevation. So it's a way to kind of see new talent and independent talent kind of under the AEW umbrella, basically. But so he is going to be a commentator for that new show. He will also be in a wrestling capacity, which is quite interesting. And he'll also be acting as an agent. So, yeah, I mean, crazy. Massive signing, really. Not even kidding. Pun is not intended.
I'm incredibly torn with things like this because, like, straight away now, people, if you look on a lot of like social medias, different podcasts such as ourselves, the speculation I want to make is like AEW starting to go too far with the WWE signings, right? But and I'm trying to look at it objectively and go, if you've got someone who is a talent, a legend in the business, and would be an asset to your business, why wouldn't you sign them? So I'm a bit torn because it does feel a bit WWE heavy lately. And a bit sort of old school heavy with the recent signings of Sting, and we've got obviously Jake the Snake and now Big Show, and so it's a lot of people who really shouldn't be actively in the ring all that much now. But it all remains to be seen. Like if they're using them right, I don't see the problem. And don't be wrong, I think they need to cool it on the Sting interviews. They're using them right in the sense of he's not having matches, which is good, but like in a sense. But yeah, I don't know. I'm a bit torn on this because I'm like, well, he's definitely an asset to it. You know what I mean? He's had absolute decades in the business. There's no way he's not going to be a good thing for them. But I don't know. I don't want to speak ill of AEW talent. Or how you feel
Stop it.
That. But I hope they haven't just signed them because it's
yeah. No, I think.
You know what I mean? Although we know that they don't just do that because all due respect to. Zack Ryder, whose real name
it's
Martina
Cardona.
Just make a point of saying that's him. Yeah, all due respect to Zack, they didn't make a point of signing him just because he was WWE guy. So I don't think they're in the business of doing that. But I don't know. That's my 10 cents. Sorry.
No, you've got a point. It's been long debated, really, hasn't it? Amongst the whole kind of wrestling community of is AEW going to continue to just sign WWE cast-offs? But yeah, I think this is interesting that it's a new role. I think the majority of what he'll be doing is on commentary. I think, but he also will be acting as an agent, and may have the odd match here or there. I'm calling it now. I think we will see him on Wednesday in the Shaq Cody shenanigans. If I'm honest. So I think when we say...
I mean, if you've got a monster like Shaq, who's going to be just as tall, who's going to look that man in the eye?
This is true. So, yeah, I don't know. I think when they say from a wrestling capacity, I think it'd be something like that, like against Shaq or something. But Interesting, and it did shock the whole of the wrestling world. So, yeah, madness at all elite wrestling.
Indeed. Well, speaking of shocking the whole wrestling world, Carl, or some of it, a small portion of the wrestling world. As a lot of people will know, Big Cass, formerly of Enzo and Cass in WWE, he had some time away from the ring, Carl. Let's say he was dealing with some personal demons, let's say. He made, I believe, 1 or 2 indie appearances beforehand, but took a lot of time out. His quite close friend and former tag team partner, Enzo, has even gone as far as saying that, he's going to have some time away. He's going to deal with his own things, and they are very close in real life. So, what happened this week made a bit of sense. And basically, Big Cass has rocked up on. Sorry, I'm just reminding myself of the name of the show. An indie promotion, an indie show. Lariato Pro Wrestling, I believe. A show in which Enzo was a part of, and a segment to which Enzo was a part of. So it was a nice little reunion for the two. And on top of that, he's looking
jacked as fuck.
Let's say that he's jacked as. So he's obviously been hitting the gym and looking after himself. It's good to see him back. You know, he was a really talented guy. He had a lot of potential. Straight away, WWE were like, let's push him into a solo run because fuck tag teams. So we knew they saw something in him, and hopefully this is him sort of rising back up in the world of wrestling. But just I feel good story.
He is back.
He's back. And better than
That's
ever.
it. And being jacked as fuck, you can't teach that. So they say. But no, I think it's pretty cool for them too. Really, they did try and they split them up because of stuff that happened with Enzo, and they tried to give Cass a solo run, but they would have split them up anyway, probably. But it's nice to see them back together. They were a really good tag team, and they achieved a lot in the short amount of time they were.
They split. I know Enzo was having his controversy, but they split them up too soon. I mean, throwing Enzo into the cruiserweight scene for no fucking reason did not help. Throwing Big Cass into a solo run and then kind of losing interest, again, never helps anyone ever. WWE, stop doing that. But yeah, it's good to see them back together. And I hate to say it, but could we see them in, like, I don't know, NWA, AEW, Ring of Honor, even as a tag team, reunited tag team?
Who knows? So the next one to talk about involves the whole effing show himself, Mr. Rob Van Dam. And we spoke previously on another show around him having a level of involvement with WWE that he was keeping under wraps. Well, that has now been revealed in some capacity. So basically, he's been quoted now saying that WWE have asked me if I'd be interested to make a documentary with him. So he said, yeah, sure, he's definitely interested, but they haven't actually shot much of it yet. So he whispered, but it does come out in May. So effectively, we're going to be seeing something with RVD. So I think he's one of the Icons episodes. I think we might have even seen a trailer for that.
Yeah, we've got spoilers. They've actually titled it Because I Got High, the Rob Van Dam story.
I mean, I'd watch the shit out of that, to be fair. But no, so I think it's going to be for an episode of Icons, I believe. But it could be something else entirely. He doesn't actually reference Icons. He just says he wants to do a documentary on him. So maybe it isn't just that. It's something, extra as well. But they've also contacted him about potentially doing a book. So yeah, he's definitely going to be getting a bit of extra income coming from WWE's way. Getting high 101.
I want like one of them like kids pop-up books, and you can pull the little lever on the side, and his little arm's got
that's it. He's made the the paper it's printed on just for blunts basically. So after each page you finish, you then just roll it up and smoke a fatty. Is that what the kids say? I don't know.
I have the torn pages here.
But yeah, so interesting. I was a massive Rob Van Dam mark, so be cool to see his Icons episode. Cool to see if he gets another documentary. He did have one, I think, really early on in his WWE career. So it'll be interesting to see what they do if it is something different. And then a book deal. It'll be interesting to fit in there what they could have fit in the documentary.
Yeah, I look forward to it, man. It's certainly one I would have a read of and a
Definitely.
watch of, definitely. So keep your eyes peeled for that one, guys. We're not sure on a date yet, but it's probably May. Anyway, the next one I've got, Carl, and as you know, it's something that I mention every other week, let's say, is Tama Tonga. Now, I'm big on this guy. For someone who I don't actually get to watch that regularly because he's a New Japan guy, I think he's fucking ace. His dad's also a legend, by the way, right? But this week, quite recently, he successfully defended the New Japan Pro Wrestling tag team titles alongside his tag team partner or the other member of the Gorillas of Destiny. And at the end, once these were successfully defended, we had a nice little promo cut by Tama himself. And he made it very clear that they're open to all challenges. Come on, come on. And made it very clear and very specifically referenced the likes of FTR and the Good Brothers. So, the reason this needs to be mentioned, Carl, is being a more direct shot than something he's put on social media like he's done in the past. I'll have to ask you again. Are we going to see Tama Tonga, the current iteration of the Bullet Club, in some form, rock up on AEW?
I would love to see him. I would love to see him
Come on,
actually
gotta
just
happen,
come through a forbidden door. I think it'd be fantastic. Just like it's a forbidden no entry or something. He just pops his head through. I'd love to see that. But yeah, it's definitely possible, isn't it, with the relationships that are happening at the minute with AEW and New Japan and NWA, etc. So
We were. I mean, I'm excited because for a while we were quite shaky on the New Japan relationship. Whilst it was, I think they were saying they had a relationship with New Japan before they ever had one with the likes of NWA or TNA. You're not allowed to say TNA anymore, are you? NWA or Impact.
it's
It's a bad word, Carl. It's a bad word. But all we ever really got was like they allowed Jericho to go and do. What is this? What's the big pay per view that I can't
Wrestle
ever
Kingdom?
remember the name of, Carl? Wrestle Kingdom. And then we didn't really get to see much go in the other direction. Obviously, the pandemic probably had an impact on that too. But obviously, recent AEWs have shown that we definitely have the ability, and there definitely is a working relationship there. So I really want them to go all in with this. Maybe at all in.
See what you did there. I'm interested in that, to be honest, because I know that you really want to see him in WWE, don't you? You want to see Tama Tonga versus Roman Reigns. That's like your wet dream.
I think it's right to start,
So
man.
would you still be happy if he does go the AEW route?
Yeah, I want to see him on something that's more. I don't want to say more mainstream. That's disrespectful to New Japan. Selfishly, I want to see him on a show that I watch regularly,
I think it's
be
fair.
it WWE or AEW, because he's fucking ace.
Agreed.
Definitely got the chops, as it were. And you might see his dad rock up as well. We like old WWE legends, so we might rock up with him. He did
Who
for a
knows?
while in New Japan.
Who knows? So
Who knows?
I'll take your Tama Tonga and I'll raise you an NWA. And so NWA fans were a little bit shocked.
Wait, Dr. Dre?
Oh yeah. Tama Tonga mix CDs coming soon. But no, NWA fans were kind of shocked when they went onto YouTube to the NWA channel and found that there was no content there, no videos, everything had been removed. So everyone was kind of going, what the fuck? And basically, it's not all bad news. So it looks like the reason for them removing the stuff from YouTube is that they have signed a new distribution deal. So there's no kind of announcement of who that is with. They either believe it's going to be announced pretty soon, but that could be really good for them. I guess it depends on who it is. Like, for me, like Dark, for example, being on YouTube, and now Dark Elevation going to YouTube as well. We spoke about this before. There was times when I was growing up when we couldn't afford cable. So, if something was out that I could have watched for free, I would have been all over it. So I'm a huge fan of them putting stuff on YouTube. But, if it means better things and more money and stuff like that for NWA by actually having a distribution deal, then, it just helps them as a company grow again even more. And, I didn't really get to watch much of Power.
Totally
But what I did see of it looked, like an alternative, something different, a bit of an old school feel. So
And now we're fucked. We're not going to be able to watch it now.
I know, right? So I take it all back. They should have left it on YouTube, those bastards. But no, so exciting for them. But yeah, interested to see what that new distribution deal will be and who it will be with.
Certainly will. So the next one, Karl, is a bit of sad news, unfortunately, and there's not a lot of information to it. And to be honest, rightly so, because we don't want to go prying into people's personal lives, but it deserves a mention because this person is an absolute legend. And this is one Jim Crockett Jr. Now, for those who may not recognize the name, Jim Crockett Jr. was the owner of Jim Crockett Promotions, which were either owners or in some way affiliated with the NWA back in the 70s, 80s, which was ultimately sold to one Ted Turner and ultimately became WCW. I know we have an NWA now, but it's a different kind of thing. Like, essentially, he was one of the pivotal characters in WCW becoming WCW. So sadly, a very recent tweet went up very recently from a Twitter account of Crockett Sports Promotions, just simply stating that Jim Crockett Jr. is in the hospital and not doing well, and that they'll keep us posted. So far, I've not got any further information on it, so it's just unfortunately a bit of sad news. We hope everything's okay, but just one that I say he's a legend in the wrestling world, so I felt it's
terrible. It's not looking great, unfortunately. I think there's been a few things come out saying he's in grave kind of condition. So yeah, I just hope that he does pull through and he's all okay. And absolute legend for the business of pro wrestling. It's crazy, really, to think of what Jim Crockett Promotions became, and the whole WCW kind of behemoth was kind of started with him, and so. Yeah, definitely a sad one, and hopefully we hear some positive news on him soon.
Yeah.
So the next one to talk about is it's an interesting one. This the women's championship eliminator tournament was basically there was a deal signed with Bleacher Report to stream it with them, and Tony Khan got a lot of flack for this, for that decision. He was like, the Thunder Rosa and Riho match should have been on Dynamite, etc., etc. And he was like, no, it's Bleacher Report's got X million, subscribers. It's going to open, get a lot more eyeballs on it, etc. Which you've got to kind of dispute a little bit because TNT must have quite a few people watching it, but either or.
To be honest, I'll give him. I can't give him credit because it did not work, but you got to give him credit for trying things. If you know what I mean, let's see if we can open up a slightly different avenue. I don't blame him for that. Maybe not with that match, for our sake, because we want to watch it on Dynamite. But I understand him trying these things. But yeah, I totally get why people would be like, not this one,
definitely.
Not this one, Tony.
But yeah, as you mentioned, unfortunately, it didn't actually work, which is probably the biggest shame of it. So there was a lot of international fans that were not able to stream it, and that was not what was believed was going to be the case at the time. So Tony Khan kind of came out with a tweet that pretty much slammed Bleacher Report, really. So he said, I'm sorry people had issues with Bleacher Report's international stream. I was promised multiple times by our partner that the Eliminator matches would stream in real time for free for all international fans. Since that's not the case, I just put the matches up for free on YouTube. So he sounds pretty pissed off, but I also I love the idea of the fact of just Tony Khan just sat there with his laptop and just I'm fucking just doing myself then. Just goes to logs into the AEW YouTube, uploads them just while he's fucking doing this at the screen. Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
working on his SEO.
Yeah. But no, I think as you say, it was bold of him to try something like this, and he truly believed it was going to get a lot more eyeballs on it. And unfortunately, that backfired tremendously because no fucker could watch it. So, but in fairness, he's put it up on YouTube. That's where I watched it, and it was a great, a really good little show. So yeah, we'll talk about that when we go through This Week in Wrestling. But yeah, thought it was good. Yeah. Thought it was good. So
awesome. Yeah. It's not good for Bleacher Report,
not the best.
To be fair, it seems like they've made a lot of promises there that they might not have been equipped for in terms of the tech to support it. Hopefully it's not too damaging for them. To be honest, I enjoy Bleacher reports. I'm admitting I've never used them for streaming, but I like reading.
Yeah, I know. Same. Hopefully they bounce back.
Anyway, slight digression. I know. So, next one, Carl. Shinsuke Nakamura. So, as we know, it seemed he was turning face and maybe getting a push over the last few weeks. Now, this week especially, it seems he's back on the old mid card. Let's keep him there. I mean, there's hints that maybe he could be involved in the IC title picture, but we know exactly where they're going with that. They can try and insert him in the story all they want, but we're going to end up with Big E and Apollo, aren't we? So, he recently put out a little video on social media just about him going up against Apollo and cutting a little bit of a promo. And in the comments, one person mentioned about you want to go back to like New Japan and the like, and you want to sort of because of the way WWE are booking them at the moment, and you want to go back to where you were more, I don't want to say relevant because I'm paraphrasing, but that sort of thing. And then someone responded to that saying he's happy in WWE and he doesn't have to, basically can work safer. It's a safer environment, etc. And surprisingly, the one that Shinsuke himself responded to was the person saying he was happy, simply by saying, "Who said I was happy?" So now this has obviously led to the likes of you and me, Carl, going, "Is he not happy in WWE? What's going on?" So do you think this is maybe potentially a bit of character work because he's meant to be unhappy with Apollo at the minute anyway, or do you think he's truly unhappy with WWE and his?
I mean, it's interesting that is the one
what's happening. What's going on, Carl?
It's interesting that's the one he'd replied to. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I can't imagine he is happy. It's a weird one, this, because you hear conflicting stuff. A lot of people think he came to WWE with the full intention, knowing that it was just going to be like a big final payday for him. He was done with Japan. He was done working the strong style, and he went to WWE to kind of get a little bit of cash and kind of wind down his career. So that was the belief. But I don't know. Like, I saw a couple of promos from him and stuff when we thought he was going to be getting built up, and yeah, I don't know. Maybe he does want that belt now. So definitely a strange one.
Yeah, I just don't think. For me, I don't think WWE have got much interest in putting him in the title picture. I think they know he's a good person to use. He's a very good worker and he can put people over really well. But like this, the IC title picture is a prime example. Like they don't have any intention of putting the belt on him or putting him even near the title picture. He's just a foil for Apollo to push Apollo as a heel, which isn't a bad thing. But that's what they're using him for at the minute.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I could see it.
I don't know.
You heard it here first. Shinsuke's leaving WWE. Shocking.
We break all the important stories.
So, Carl, tell us all about Heather Miller.
Beautiful Heather Miller. So, apologies again for that. I didn't do it to stitch you up, I promise. Definitely did.
You got me good. I remember.
But no, so we've known for a while now that Heath Miller, formerly Heath Slater in WWE, he's had an injury and he's been struggling to try and figure out what it is. Is the main thing. So it's kept him out of action for quite a while. But he's finally managed to find a surgeon now who has been able to handle his what's been described as unique injuries. So I believe it was now being originally believed was to be an ACL, but he's now found out that it's he's tore his abductor muscle on the bone on both sides of his abdomen, and he's got hernias on both sides of his pubic bone. So yeah, sounds painful. But he posted a tweet saying that he's in Durham, North Carolina, and he's got surgery scheduled for today. So he's put "say a prayer for me, baby." So yeah, just want to note that hopefully he has a speedy recovery. Absolute legend, that guy. Got all the time in the world for him. Think he's great, and hopefully we get to see him back on Impact soon. Got to think of his kids, man. But no, from us, we are wishing you a speedy recovery, mate, and hopefully we will see him back in action soon.
Indeed. And hey, when Carl says we've got all the time in the world for you, We truly mean that. A whole segment if you want.
Join us.
So, Carl. Here's one for you. Old Marcus Henry is very recently. I think he makes regular appearances on this particular show, but he was on the Busted Open Radio talking about Randy Orton, actually. And he basically has pointed out that he's in a lot better condition than he has been in the past. He said he's walking on 2 feet again. He's 325 pounds. He's lighter and trimmer than he's ever been. And he's made it very clear that he plans on having a match sometime in the next 6 months. And he's made it clear it's not going to be like a full-on return to the ring, but he's like, possibly just one match, and suggesting, if Randy's the guy, then so be it. Which, from a story point of view, yeah, it makes sense, it being Randy, being the legend killer and all. But he also ended it by saying, believe me, I'll be ready, and I won't be on 1 foot on a push. Well, I won't be on 1 foot on a push scooter. I assume.
Yeah, so he's harping back to Legends Night on there. So Orton was going around backstage and he kept bumping into people, including the Big Show, and including Mark Henry, who notably had his leg in a cast and was like going around on a little scooter, and he was basically trying to get them to, trying to start a fight with them and stuff basically. So interesting that he's kind of doing a callback to that and saying that if he does have a match, then it'll be Randy.
Right. It'll be a Randy one. But no, I mean, what do you make of the possibility of the world's strongest man coming back? Old sexual chocolate himself. Jumped in there, knew what you would do.
I mean, I think I read somewhere that he's obviously very close with the Big Show, and I think Big Show has wrestled in 4 decades or something like that, and he's only wrestled in 3. So I think he wants to tie that record. So
yeah, gonna have to.
I think if he comes back, cool. It has to make sense. You know what I mean? It can't just be he rocks up, or like I hope they don't continue to do like the Randy Orton legend thing, because I think even that's getting a bit overdone now, isn't it?
It's but what else is Randy gonna do?
True.
Might fight the Fiend at some point, eventually. Is that a record? Is that a record, like 4 decades, or like, because I feel like Undertaker or Ric Flair or someone should be beating that record.
I was thinking Flair. So I think Flair must have wrestled in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 1000s, 10s. Has he wrestled in the 20s? But that's 5 anyway. So
I don't know if you'd call it wrestling. He took a punt kick. And he
that is true. He did do that.
I mean, again, me gut says Hogan, but Hogan hasn't wrestled in a long time, actually. So Rick's probably got him beat. True. Taker, again, he's had a lot of time out. He's been around for a long time, but you probably had some gaps in there. Maybe. I mean, it turns up once a year, so how could he have?
Yeah, I think.
When did Undertaker rock up? Like, Undertaker was what? Late 80s, early 90s debut? Or
so
early 90s even?
He must have started wrestling in the 80s.
Because I'm thinking Undertaker, but obviously we had
exactly, yeah. So Taker probably could have Flair beat then, because he's wrestled in the 20s, hasn't he? So 80s, 90s, yeah, maybe, or maybe he's 5 or 6 as well. So yeah, I definitely don't think it's a record, but I think it's one that Mark Henry isn't happy with the Big Show having more than him. So
sorry, Mark, I derailed your whole news bit by just talking about the Undertaker.
So I'm gonna just have this come in. Mark Henry's return match for this decade is going to be against Anthony, apparently. Huh?
Oh, he's quoted saying somebody's going to get their ass kicked.
Well, it's better than the Valentine's card that we did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved how people responded on Instagram with "I'm never going to hear that theme song the same way again," and I love that we've ruined that for people. It's excellent.
Yeah, it was one of my favourites of the cards. I say the royal we, because you did all the work. But yeah, I love those cards. They're great. I look forward to our Christmas ones.
We're definitely doing that.
We're doing Easter.
Could do Easter. Bad Bunny, something in there.
Nice.
So yeah, so we pretty much skipped all over your segment there, Mark. Come back and wrestle if you want. If you don't, who cares?
Yeah, look forward to it, Mark.
And the next and I believe final segment of the week is, will Conor McGregor be coming to the WWE?
Probably,
So
eventually.
this has all kind of stemmed from a little bit of a Twitter thing going on. So Finn Balor, current NXT champion, shared a image on Twitter of 3 action figures. So it was Conor McGregor, Finn Balor, and in the middle was Triple H with his arm around both of them. And he just put Triple H X the Notorious MMA X Balor. So Conor McGregor replied to this with "No more Mr. Nice Guy." So don't really know what that means, but okay. And then Triple H replied to it with "Just say when." So do you know what? I'd be down for this. To be fair, if Conor McGregor's going to come to the WWE, he is a well, exactly,
Wake
he
Finn up,
is
that'd be good.
a lightweight. He's 135 pounds, 145 pounds, something like that.
I don't know if you've ever been out drinking with him, Carl, but he's definitely not.
Yeah, he just smells his proper 12 whiskey and that's it. He's done. Fucking lightweight, that guy. But no, so he predominantly fights at lightweight. He's 5'8", 5'9" in terms of height. So if he went to the WWE, he would be somewhat, dwarfed by a lot of the other guys on the roster there. But Finn Balor, he's only like 5'10" himself. So also from
Yeah.
Ireland. Like I'd love that. If they could set that up for Mania, that'd be fucking brilliant. To be fair,
You know what, that would be a really good matchup. To be fair,
I think that'd be
I
awesome.
totally agree. And it'd be the most interesting thing I've seen Balor do all
Well, that's not
over the last 2 years, I think. I don't know why I'm taking shots at Balor. I actually have a lot of time for you, Finn, but the NXT run at the minute is just like underwhelming for me. But yeah, like the only problem I've got with this, Carl, is I feel like this is getting to CM Punk levels where every once in a while we hear, "Oh, Conor McGregor might become to WWE." I was hearing this before he even went into his whole boxing stint. Like, just either join or fucking don't.
Yeah, you've got a point.
I mean, of course, I wouldn't say it's face, Conor.
I mean, I think a lot of people speculated about Ronda Rousey after her first loss, but then that didn't materialize. But then she lost again, and then she did end up rocking up in WWE. So, whereas you've got someone like Tyson Fury, who that wasn't even really rumored, he just rocked up one day. So it's you never know. McGregor got absolutely knocked the fuck out in his last effort. So maybe he is a bit done with MMA for a while. Who knows? But definitely, even if he only came for a one-off stint, him versus Balor at Mania, that'd be a fucking spectacle, and I'm sure WWE would compensate him nicely.
I'm curious, Kat. Right? Do you think he'd gel well with the PG era? Because my gut says straight away, oh, he'd be great on the mic because he's always good at like psyching his opponents out. He's always good at talking shit, but he's also relatively uncensored most of the time. So to be sort of almost hands tied by like, oh, you can't say that. You'll have to say flipping or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Do you think he'd actually not? I don't know. I don't want to say struggle because that's not fair because he's definitely still got the charisma there. But do you think it'd be quite sort of restricting for him to have to try and have that sort of back and forth, that mic work when you've got to consider the sort of PG?
I mean, he is a
marker.
massive fan of the F-bomb, isn't he? Let's be honest. But I don't know. Some of his most kind of notable quotes, there hasn't been a single F-bomb in there. But yeah, I don't know. I think, as you said, he's got the charisma to hang. But would he make the occasional, expletive? Probably.
It'd be hard not to use it, like. So yeah, I'm just curious on that. Like, I think they could do some awesome work there. It's one of those scenarios, but I actually don't even want the Demon because the Demon wouldn't gel. This just needs to be a straight up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'd be fantastic that, and I think it would rub people the wrong way if he went straight to the WWE main roster and started like fucking beating Drew McIntyre or something, because like that just it's not believable, is it? But if he went to NXT and was up against Balor, and as you've said, it'd be the most fucking interesting thing Balor's done in a long time. I don't know.
I mean, you say it's not believable. We had the Miz pin.
Yeah, but I mean, he was seriously incapacitated by that point, and he still kicked out. So,
Look at that.
Yeah,
bullshit. There's a bullshit.
Still prefer it. Still prefer
Anyway,
it than if it would have been Goldberg. So, there you go.
That's true. Actually, I'm so glad it wasn't. I'm so glad. Do you know what? Yeah, I'll give them credit for that because they really had me worried that was how it was going to go. But no, Drew. Do you know what? No, I'm not going to go into it, Carl. McGregor's coming to WWE. I look forward to it. WrestleMania.
Right, he's going to fight Goldberg and get squashed. But yeah, so will we see it? Who knows? But that is everything for this week's Ringside Report, Anthony. It's been emotional. It's been good.
Yeah, it is.
It's been bad. It's been indifferent. But it's been informative. And that's what counts.
That it has.
And we
that's what
will be back after these short messages.
You're watching or listening
to A to the K.
The A to the K.
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 These guys are awesome. Check it out.
Check it out. Change your life. You'll be thanking me later.